Good evening and welcome to the BCS Learning Development Specialist Group for our March meeting. And delighted this evening we're going to be talking about skills bridges, which I think is a fairly new initiative from City and Guilds. So looking forward to our speaker tonight talking about that. Just as an introduction, a couple of slides about the group, but first of all, say we are recording the event. So if you're not happy with that, then this is your opportunity to opt out. We have got questions and we will be taking questions later on. So please put the questions into the chat box and we will be getting underway now. So the BCS Learning Development Specialist Group is for anyone who's involved in development, delivery or management of learning to IT and communication professionals and users. Quite a broad definition, but hopefully in there you'll find something that resonates with you. And hopefully you'll find tonight's session fits in really well with this topic. The membership of the group is fairly evenly split between a whole range of backgrounds. IT end user skills training people and people interested in end user skills training is about 18% of the group. The professional skills training, so this is things like project management and service management, is another 18% of the membership. Technical skills training, so product orientated training, is 16%. People with a background in university and general education, it's another 16%. And then the remainder, about a third of the group, are just people who are interested in learning and development in IT and general IT skills. The specialist group does have a website. We've got a page on the BCS website. It's where you can find out what events we've got going on, our archive of past events, and a whole range of things about the group. And please go there and have a look at what we're doing. And we've uploaded most of our sessions from the last 2 years are now available on the BCS member group YouTube channel. And take a look, we've got our own playlist. And in a few days' time, you'll find this presentation in that playlist as well. I always like to just do a mention of the technical training management book available from the BCS bookshop, either as a hard copy or an EPUB. Anyone that's interested in technical training management, please go and take a look at this book. We did this jointly with SEDMA Europe, which is the Training Directors Network, and hopefully a few of you may have been at the joint event we had with SEDMA last week around graduate employability. If you missed that, then the recordings will be available. And just to talk about a couple of future events we've got coming up. So in April, we've got a session called It's All Greek to Me, which is a career journey. Somebody who's started sort of background in classics, ended up as product owner and then business analyst, or product owner via business analyst. So that'll be interesting to hear a sort of career journey that's been taken. May, we're going to be looking at technology and visual impairment. And then in June, we've got a session on the importance of demonstrating a learning culture for organizational survival. So please sign up for these events. They're all on the BCS member group web pages, on the Learning Development Specialist group page, and they're all available for signing up as of now. We do have a Twitter channel. Please make use of that. It's where we announce events as soon as they've been organised, and we do keep it up to date. And Michelle will be on our committee, will be live tweeting through the session tonight, and it's a good way to keep up to date with what's going on in learning and development space. So finally, I'd like to introduce our speaker tonight, Jeremy Dardy from City and Guilds, and it's very good to have you with us tonight, Jeremy. I'm now going to try and hand over control to you, and look forward very much to hear what you've got to tell us tonight, and we'll be doing a Q&A session when Jeremy's finished talking. So hopefully the slides should be coming your way.
Fantastic, brilliant. Thank you very, very much, Kevin. And look, I'm really, really delighted to be here this evening with everybody. I do appreciate it is quite late in the evening for everyone, and I'd imagine, like me, you've already had a full day of work. But what I will try to do is to make this stimulating and interesting, actually, for the next little while. As I introduce, as Kevin mentions, quite a new concept that City and Guilds launched really at the tail end of last year, entitled Skills Bridges. And so I'm just going to sort of present just a few slides actually on the concept of Skills Bridges. And of course, today we mark the quite unfortunate occasion of 1 year since we first went into lockdown. And clearly, the past year has had an enormous impact on the workforce and on our economy and on people, more significant than probably at any other period of time in our history of our lives, and certainly in our own sort of generations. It's fascinating that at the same time as all this going on, that City and Guilds holds fast to its purpose, which is all about helping people into their first job, helping them progress on the job, and helping them progress onto the next job. And so City and Guilds went about saying, what can we now do actually in terms of fulfilling our purpose in the context of this pandemic and with the situation that is going on all around us? And out of that was born Skills Bridges. So I'm going to spend the next little while just unpacking a little bit about the wider context that has led to why sort of Skills Bridges have sort of come about. I'm going to give you some more details around what Skills Bridges actually are. And we've got a very, very exciting development that just went live yesterday, which is a program called Step into Digital Technologies. I'm going to invite you to actually join us on this journey of discovery and play your part actually in helping the workforce get back onto its feet as we sort of come out of lockdown and get more back into some sort of normality. Before we sort of kick sort of headlong into the evening itself, into the presentation, I do actually want to ask you a few questions and get your views on a few things, which are going to help quite nicely in terms of setting up the context for Skills Bridges. So we've got a few questions, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge here in terms of technology, but let's see how we go with this. But first up, I'd like to ask you, if I can actually get the slide to change. Actually, a sobering question is what do you believe is the current rate of unemployment in the UK to the nearest whole percent? And there are kind of three answers you could give for this, and just like to sort of get in terms of the poll, which answer you believe is most correct. Is it currently 3%? Is it currently closer to 5%, or is it closer to 7%? So just to the nearest whole percent, which percentage do you believe is the current rate of unemployment in the UK? And Michelle, I can't see how the responses are going, so perhaps you could just give me a view as to how what people think the answers are.
We have 92% have voted. You've still got a few seconds if you're part of the last 8%. Think we will be closing it in a second. We have 0 votes for 3%. So that means everybody is split between 5 and 7%. Gary, if you'd like to close it, you should be able to then share it afterwards.
Brilliant. So you were thinking sort of between sort of 5 and 7%. The actual answer right now is 5.1%. So actually we are close to the nearest percent, it is 5%. However, those of you who answered 7% are probably sort of based more on the predictions of where this year will end up. So currently already 5% is an incredibly high figure and a high number. Translates to a very, very large number. We'll talk about that in a short while. But actually the predictions are that we could well surpass 7% later this year at the rate we're going, particularly as the interventions from Rishi Sunak come undone and we start to see the full impact of the pandemic play out. So if that wasn't sobering enough, on to our second question. How many people does that percentage now translate to? How many people are currently unemployed? And out of the 3 answers, do you think it's 1.3 million? Do you think it's 1.5 million? Or do you think it's 1.7 million? Great anticipation now. As everybody answers.
85% voted. You've still got a few seconds. If you're in our last 15%, and it's split across the board. I'm not giving you the percentages yet.
Oh, right. Okay.
But we have votes for everything. 92%. Wow. I think we're good, Gary.
So we think quite sort of evenly split across the 3 figures.
There we go. So we have 50% is 1.3, 17% is 1.5, and 33% is 1.7. So the overwhelming majority think it's 1.3.
1.3. You are a fairly conservative bunch. A third of you were correct. The answer is actually 1.7 million, an eye-watering number. And as I say, it actually represents only just over 5% at the moment. And that figure is expected to go upwards, unfortunately. So we're talking some very, very serious numbers of people who are currently unemployed and potentially will be unemployed throughout this year. So final question, because if that wasn't sobering enough, we have one more sobering question for you. What was the peak of redundancies last year? What was the peak of redundancies in 2020? And only one of these is actually correct. Was it 311,000? Was it 370,000? Or was it 395,000?
Okay, we've got almost 70% have voted. Oh no, 85. Everybody's quite quick at the end.
Sure. Can we get to 92 again?
No, we've got to 92%.
Yay!
I think if we're there we go, and that's now been closed, and Gary's going to share it. So overwhelmingly, most people thought it was 370,000.
Very, very interesting. And it goes to show in terms of the statistics that come out from the Office of National Statistics, the ONS for short, much easier to say as well. The ONS published these figures. And actually, had we been talking in December, you would have been correct to have said 370,000. But that was only the results up to October. The ONS then issued the results up to November, and the number went even higher. So actually, unfortunately, the correct answer is 395,000. And to put that in context, the reason I actually put the 311,000 is because that was the figure that was the peak from the last deep recession we had, which was the 2008 financial crisis. So in context, you can see just how much tougher and harder it's been in last year of redundancies compared to even a very, very tough recession that we had previously in the last couple of decades. So we are talking some very, very significant shocks to our system and some very significant impact on people throughout this country. So thank you very much for participating in that, and hopefully it sort of gets you a feel for some of the context and some of the numbers we've got, and why actually I do refer to this as a workforce crisis. We've seen some astonishingly high numbers of people impacted, but moreover, we ourselves, the City and Guilds, have actually done a few reports, and not only have we got a population that is heavily impacted by the pandemic, but we've also got a population who do not have a huge amount of confidence in the transferability of their skills, and moving from one occupation to another is not something that they see as straightforward. 1 in 3 are worried about starting their careers all over again, and unfortunately less than 1 in 5 people actually understand how their skills can be transferred into another career. And that itself has really given us the background and gives us the context for why we talked and thought about skills bridges, because we realized there was a major problem in our country right now when you put all that information together. And so we did create something called skills bridges, which are, in a simple terms, an online solution to help people bridge from where they are today, either out of work or facing a risk of losing their job, into particular sectors which have really high vacancy rates or very strong growth prospects. And there are a number of sectors like that at this moment in time. And in fact, the term skills bridges is used as an overall catch-all for a variety of different programs now that sit within this body of work that we do. So as I mentioned, online, it is all about reaching people and helping them, giving them visibility of where they could go, where there are actually jobs, what it takes to actually be successful in those jobs, and it also gives them an understanding and insight in terms of their own skills and how they can transfer them across. I'm going to unpack over the next few minutes some more specifics around digital credentials, but around skills bridges, which do involve digital credentials, and more on that in a few moments. But before I do, I've got just a very short animation that hopefully starts to sort of bring this to life for you. So if you bear with me 1 second again, we will see if we can get the technology to work for us on this one.
In these unprecedented times, it's vital that we focus on supporting people to rethink their strengths, retrain if needed, and get back into meaningful and long-lasting employment. While some industries are shrinking, others are growing, and new work opportunities are emerging. Skills bridges have been made using employer insights in response to rapidly changing labour markets. They are designed to help people recognise their strengths and transferable skills and open their eyes to new jobs where these skills will be valued and sought after. Imagine a hotel receptionist who has excellent customer service, communication, and people skills, skills that are also essential for care workers. With the right top-up training to build on what they already have, this person could be perfect for a new job in a growth industry. Skills bridges help people take that all-important first step, signposting them to career opportunities and related top-up training, and giving them the tools and knowledge they need to succeed.
So hopefully that's brought it a little bit more to life in terms of what skills bridges are and how they work. And it's no accident that it talks that particular animation around a transfer from somebody in hospitality to someone who could work in the field of care, because actually that was the very first skills bridge that went live and was that was out in the market.
I therefore
Oops.
make new friends.
Of course, I can. It automatically. Of course, it automatically goes to the next video in play. So apologies for that. Also, just playing for the next step on that. So in terms of the actual skills bridges that have come out, just sort of as an overview, in terms of the various steps now that we offer through City and Guilds, is that actually The program, there is a program that this is all wrapped around, and that's an online program, and I'll give you some more details in a few moments about what that looks like. And that's the first step of the journey. But then once that part is completed, there is a skills recognition piece of a formal digital credential that is issued from City and Guilds. And if you're not familiar with digital credentials, I will explain a little bit more in a few minutes about what those are. That then leads to a very clear signposting that we offer, where people can come to our website, and we've got a dedicated page with employers and also other organisations who are there to support people into employment, such as the Princess Trust for mentoring and a variety of other support. And the ultimate, to fulfill our City and Guilds purpose, is to actually help people get into that final stage back into a job. So I'm going to unpack each of these areas now in turn, so we can sort of look at actually how these work in practice. So in terms of skills bridges, the program itself, what you can see here is a snapshot of the landing page online. And the courses are hosted on FutureLearn platforms. So FutureLearn actually are in partnership with City and Guilds on this to bring these programs to life. Each of these programs consists of 4-hour modules and training that enlighten you in terms of the whole world of what the sector is about and what the job opportunities are about. Now, clearly in digital technologies, there are a whole field, a whole host of different jobs that are available. But actually in this program, we purposely point people to 3 key occupations that are particularly keen or particularly sort of in much need at this moment in time in our society. And I'll unpack those in a few minutes as we go into a bit more detail in terms of the program itself. But actually, the reason I've called this sort of skills bridge number 3 is because this program just went live yesterday. And I'm delighted to share that already in the first 24 hours, we've had over 600 enrollments onto this program. So we've seen a massive take-up of people very, very interested in actually completing this program, and having more opportunities to work in the digital space. Now, it is program number 3 because it comes off of the back of program number 1, which was Step Into Social Care. And Step Into Social Care was our first program that we launched at the end of 2020. And after 3 months, it's been phenomenal to see now over 4,000 enrollments onto that particular program. And program number 2 was Step Into Construction. And that was a program that we launched earlier this month. And again, we're seeing some very considerable take-up of that program and enrollments. So altogether, the 3 programs all are packaged together to be under the term of skills bridges. So looking at that first program and in terms of Step Into Digital Technologies and what's included, what's involved, and where does it point to? There are 4 sort of main attributes of the program. And the program really sort of helps to just unpack for someone who really knows nothing about the industry, about what's actually involved in the space of digital. What are the kind of roles that are there for the taking and the ones that are evolving? What does actually a professional in this industry look like and feel like? And what are the opportunities as well for people who become professionals in this industry? I might add that one of the big themes that we profess and we dial up at City and Guilds is we're aiming to be as inclusive and diverse as possible. And that starts with ourselves as an organization being as inclusive and diverse as we can, but it also means that everything we produce, like these programs, aims to really attract as diverse an audience as possible and maximize inclusivity. So we are purposely careful in our content, both written and also through our videos, to really promote activities without a bias to a particular gender or a particular race, but to really make this feel like it's inclusive to everybody. Now, the professionals that we are pointing people to at this moment in time in this program include IT support, networking infrastructure, and cybersecurity, because the information and the data that we've analyzed and the employers that we've spoken to have also said that these are the 3 key prime sort of entry jobs that are there to be had at this moment in time, particularly in the state of this pandemic. As time moves on and as the nature of digital evolves, we can change these occupations. But what I'm trying to get across is that this program is very fluid and is looking to be really appropriate for the moment in time. So these are the three professions we're pointing to at this moment, but there is flexibility to evolve those should those change over the coming year and beyond. I mentioned something called digital credentials a little bit earlier, and if you're not familiar with what these are now becoming the staple of what Sitting Guilds is issuing in recognition of skills and attainment. That when you take a Sitting Guilds program, you will typically now get a digital credential in place of or in addition to a paper certificate. But unlike a paper certificate, you can't lose them. You can't just put them on the wall in your mother's kitchen and kind of forget about it. A great thing about the digital credential is that it is available 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It is all available online on multiple devices. And so this is very, very powerful for anyone who wants to sort of showcase their skills, because not only can you promote yourself with your digital credential, but your digital credential is also shareable on social media platforms such as LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And moreover, the digital credential, whilst you've got the visual there in front of you, you can see what it looks like. Sitting behind the digital credential is a whole bunch of metadata, which actually provides information on what was actually involved in this program and who the recipient is, when it was issued, etc., etc. So there's a whole load of information sitting behind this digital credential as well. So it really is the 21st century way of recognizing skills. They're highly portable, they're incredibly secure, and they are verifiable. So we are really proud that actually these programs, Skills Bridges, the outcome is a digital credential. And by the way, a digital credential also opens up opportunities on jobs boards. And there is direct connectivity with receiving a digital credential and accessing live jobs data. So it's incredibly powerful for people who want to actually find jobs or are just hunting for a new job as well. The last step of the journey is then to sort of take those who've done the Skills Bridge program, who've received the digital credential, but then to support them actually in helping link them up with employers who are looking for candidates at this moment in time. And what you can see here on the bottom right-hand side is an image of our website that shows what we call our signposting page for the social care program. Now, I'm mentioning the social care at this moment in time because the digital has only just gone live yesterday. We're just in the throes of completing the signposting page for digital. But this is where you could come in. On the social care page, we link up candidates who have taken the program with employers, but also with people who are there to support and would like to support with mentoring and other sort of job advice and jobs boards linkages. So if you have any of that to offer and you'd be interested in being introduced to people who take the Step Into Digital Technologies program, then please contact the email of stepinto@sittingguilds.com to share your details, your information. Somebody will come back to you and follow up. As an example, we are deep in discussion with IBM, who are very, very keen to be showcasing themselves on this page, and we welcome all employers and other supporters of the digital sphere, the digital industry, who would like to be involved with this. So really, in a nutshell, we really are deep in the midst of a workforce crisis. We've got some quite eye-watering numbers of people out of work, redundancies that have taken place last year, and also people not having necessarily the confidence to know where to go next. Skills Bridges are very much there to help people transition from one industry to another, to give them the confidence that actually their skills are transferable, but also to open up their eyes to new opportunities, particularly opportunities where there are jobs right now. As I mentioned, the Step into Digital has now just gone live as of yesterday, and I'm delighted and very happy for you to sort of log into the FutureLearn platform and just do a search on Step into Digital, and it will come up automatically with the link. And take a look and let me know what you think of the program. It is a sponsored program at the moment, so at the moment for users, it is free to use for a limited period of time. And the last thing is, I invite you to join us. Come with us on this journey, whether you are interested in actually doing the program yourself, whether you are an employer and would like to actually be connected with people who are doing this program, or you have other support that you can give to people doing this program. Please connect with us. We'd be very, very keen to hear from you and be able to sort of link up. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. And I'm very, very happy to take any sort of questions or comments now from anybody on anything that I've sort of presented here in relation to skills bridges. Sorry, Kevin, you're on mute.
Just realised that, yeah, I was on classic on mute. No, this is really interesting. I would say I saw, as I say, yesterday, the digital one went live. Does it also, do the skills bridges also direct people to other opportunities for things like, say, apprenticeships and other things that are out in the market at the moment that are good ways of getting into industry?
Absolutely. I mean, our starting point is with employers. And of course, apprenticeships are really just like another job. They're just a trainee job, effectively. So it's really what employers have to offer. But yeah, absolutely, yes, it can very much be connected. So in social care, we've connected with a particular employer who is looking to bring people on and put them onto apprenticeships as well.
Right. And just look at the three areas that picked up in digital: IT support, network infrastructure, cybersecurity. They're all ones that I see all the time, sort of being key areas where people just can't attract talent. So I'm in the digital cyber industry, and yeah, we can never find people to get into the industry. Do you think there's enough content to really get people across that divide that always exists? That said, it looks daunting. It all, something like cybersecurity always looks like a huge step for somebody that's not aware of the industry. So can you just talk about is there enough in there to really help people cross that chasm? Because it'd be great if it really would get people.
And I suppose it's a bit of a challenge in a sense. You're right, it's a 4-hour program. There's only so much that you can get across in 4 hours, particularly when you're looking at 3 different job occupations. The whole purpose of Step Intos are really to give people confidence and insights in terms of a new industry. And really, as the name implies, Step Into, it really is about that first journey, that first step that you take, and a very deliberate first step. So it's not a qualification that you get from doing this program, but it's much more of a taster and insight. And it then gives you the confidence to go, actually, first of all, I'm interested. And secondly, I realize I've got skills that could transfer into this. I mean, that's huge plus points, because as we know, when we're recruiting anybody, the biggest thing that we all seek is confidence. So if somebody is confident, they know what the job is about, and they're confident they have skills that are transferable, well, we can train that. So it's all about, when a person comes in, is introduced to an employer and has already got a good insight into what the job is about and feels that they've got relevant skills, but they're already going to be leagues ahead of someone who doesn't have either of those. So that's the whole point of the Step Into. Is very much an introductory program. It's certainly not professing to be a qualification or give you the deep insight into the technicalities of the job.
Right. And I guess the benefit of working with somebody like FutureLearn is there's lots of content there that people could go on to get a bit more of insight into the various industries.
There are other programs. It has to be said, it is a partnership that we have with FutureLearn, and these Step Intos have been produced collaboratively between Sitting Guilds and FutureLearn, and they are the first of their kind that FutureLearn have hosted, because FutureLearn typically hosts very academic programs, and usually run by universities. But this for them is a real sort of push into much more job relevant skills immediately. And so actually it is quite a sort of new move for them, and very, very exciting times for us as well to be sort of going more digital.
Yeah, no, it's really great because so the FutureLearn's a really good platform for introductory skills in a whole range of things, and yeah, so it's quite different to have this on there, but I quite understand it. It's a really good partnership. So I'm going to open up to questions. I've got a couple of questions coming in now. I've got one. Susan's. I would be sending in an email offering my services. Excellent idea.
Brilliant. Excellent.
So you've got to take her straight away.
That's wonderful.
So Susan goes on to say, does this support programming and coding skills, or skills which help with AI and ML?
So this is as I mentioned, a more generic introductory program into what it's like to work in the space of digital technologies. We had to be quite choosy because it's quite limited sort of space, quite limited time, and be quite focused in terms of which jobs. So the jobs that we tapped into, the three that I mentioned, are the ones that are kind of hottest and have the kind of highest vacancies at the moment. But we also acknowledged, as we were launching this program, there could very easily be a step into digital technologies number 2, which is pointing people into other occupations as well. So, you know, things like AI and others and other areas are particularly sort of growing hotspots as well for job needs and the need for people to actually step into those areas. So kind of watch this space, because we are, whilst we have 3 programs up and running, we're not going to stop at 3.
Yeah. And so I think the ones you started on are great, but yeah, that's a really good question. Oh, Susan says thanks for that. But yeah, I can see this, that wherever there's key areas. I'll say, I guess AI and ML is still an evolving field, but I can see things like project management and service management. There's lots of fields that everywhere in digital we've got skills issues. You know, I could see you doing a digital 2, digital 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say, are there any more questions from anyone? Please type them into the questions box. I have to juggle a couple of screens here to see the questions coming in. So, which was it? Social? Did you say social care is the one that you've been running the longest?
That's correct. Yeah.
Have you got sort of any idea about how successful that's been in actually getting people into employment so far?
So the signposting page that I referenced was quite a late addition in terms of enhancement of the program. And we only went live with the signposting page for social care last month. But already we've got 4 actually key employers in social care linked up on there. And I understand that they've already been candidates that got themselves put forward to those employers and applied for jobs directly. So to me, it's incredibly early days still to already have that kind of flow through from the 4,000 enrollments that have taken place, and then those that then completed, got their badge, and then actually moved on to really look for a job. I'm incredibly enthused by that, and I think that's a really, really positive sign. And considering this is highly innovative and highly new, we're learning as we go along. But that's fascinating. And I would say that actually in the digital one, the rapidness at which the number of people have enrolled in the last 24 hours has kind of taken us all by storm. It's like that's really significant to have got that many already that quickly. And I think we're kind of bracing ourselves for big things actually from the digital one.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw it launch yesterday and took a very quick look at it, knowing this was coming out today, and thought, yeah, absolutely, it's a really great great place, because there's such a shortage of information, I'd say, in a structured way about how to get into the industry. What's the industry about? What sort of skills can you bring to the industry? Got another question here. Network technicians have been in short supply for several years, but previous attempts to fill the gap have fell short. How will this scheme reach the people that others didn't?
Very good. I mean, the reaching the audience is always a key challenge. Initially, when we went live with the first few programs, it was very much just by word of mouth, and also just by the activity that FutureLearn have for themselves and the kind of audience they already reach, which you could say is actually quite a specific segment of the population. That said, now we've been building up the interest in Skills Bridges with a whole load of marketing and social media campaigns behind the scenes, and we're starting to really sort of target much more widely across the UK. But in addition to that, actually, we are talking to the Department for Work and Pensions, and actually looking to do some outreach programs with them, with their support. And also, we are looking through the use of our foundation to run a pilot program in Liverpool, which will be very targeted geographically to actually get people involved in these programs. And of course, the digital technologies will be one of them, and signposting people to network technicians. So we're going to get quite specific and quite punchy with reaching out to audiences. Moreover, I mentioned about at the moment the courses are free to those who would like to take them, because I hate to use the word free because actually they come at a price, but actually it's being fully funded at the moment by the Nesta Recovery Challenge. And the Nesta Recovery Challenge is there absolutely to try and help the UK recover and get people back into work. And actually, with the support of Nesta, we are using them to reach out to those who are hardest hit. So it tends to be the youth, or people in low-paid jobs, and trying to help them to sort of transition back into work. So we're also sort of, I suppose, piggybacking off of their support too, with trying to reach out the sort of harder to reach audiences. I'm not saying that the Skills Bridges are the solution to everything, and will they make that significant difference to network technicians? Well, we'll have to see. But I think we're giving it a bloody good try.
Yeah. No, it sounds really good, and I would say I think there was some stats today that was saying that the biggest percentage of people that have had skills that have lost their job during the crisis have very much the younger workers who are absolutely ready to come into our sorts of industries. They're just don't know what it's about. They're just not coming across, and this sounds like a really good way of introducing them to the digital sector. Okay, just having a look, see what other questions come in. Say any other questions, put them into the questions box, or Gary, because you can't. If you've got any other questions, we've just found out if you're an organizer, you can't put a question in the questions box.
Oh, okay.
All right. No, I think by the looks of it, we're probably pretty much at the end of the questions. So, I'm going to say this looks really exciting, and it's a really good initiative, and it'd be great to see how this develops. And if there's anything we can do from the Learning Development Specialist Group, certainly we can promote this.
Brilliant. I think just inviting me this evening has been fantastic. I've welcomed it, and I've been I feel very privileged actually to sort of come and speak to you about this and share this. Right. But I've also really appreciated your support, and I know that you've been promoting this through your own social media channels and on your website, and that's fantastic. It's all great support, because ultimately we're all trying to achieve the same thing here, which is to get people working in the digital industry, and the more we can do that, the more that actually we can really sort of chip away at that workforce crisis that we're currently in.
Yeah. So no, I'm not seeing any more questions. So just let's see. Thank you very much for that, Jeremy. It's been really interesting, and I think it's one of the best new ideas in skills I've seen for a long time, that it's actually particularly focusing on areas where we know we've got skills gaps, we know we can't find people. The usual channels just aren't identifying the people that really want to pick something new up and learn about digital skills, and doing something that helps bridge that gap is absolutely ideal. So looking forward to hopefully inviting you back in a year's time to give us an update as to how well it's worked, and sort of see what numbers of people have actually managed to get jobs in the digital sector. That'd be absolutely great.
That'd be fantastic, and you know, the more that we can achieve that, the more success for everybody involved. So absolutely. And listen, Kevin, thank you very, very much for inviting me and for having me this evening.
And I've got to say thank you to Ken Gaines as well, who's a member of our committee, who's done a really good job promoting, saying come talk to us, and it's like, yeah, really good. So
good stuff,
great.
Ken.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Jeremy, and I hope you enjoyed that this evening, and look forward to welcoming you to our next event in April, when we're looking at the career journey. So thank you for that, and thank you, Jeremy, and we'll have this posted in a couple of days' time, so if you want to go back and watch it. But I'd say the best call to action is go and sign up for the course, see what it's about, and tell everyone about it.
Exactly. Thank you. Good evening.
Great. Thanks very much. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.